Hey, Brannon Beliso here. I know, right? A little different background today. It is Friday, February 23rd, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on the West Coast. This is Success. Success never sleeps. Success never sleeps. I am Brannon Beliso, where we, as a collective, we're just trying to figure out this thing called life. Personally, business, professional, every aspect. Because you're only, this isn't a dress rehearsal. I get to do this once. I get to do this once. So for me, it's real important that I'm happy emotionally, spiritually, mentally, physically, financially, all of it. It's the whole banana, as one would say. So I just want to tell you that I love you, and I want you to be extremely successful at whatever it is that you choose to do. And so we've got to work on every aspect of our business. I was working with Kin this morning, who I'm part of Kin Creative. It's a digital media company. And one of their clients are converting at 15%. So it's not like we're not getting them leads. They're not converting, but they refuse to address that potentially their trial process sucks, right? They refuse to address that. And I think it's really important. You're only as strong as your weakest link. And if I wake up every day with that sense of I can always do better, and if I'm not getting better, I'm getting worse. And I understand the key to not only surviving as a business, but thriving and being relevant is change. You got to change. If you're not willing to change, then forget it. Forget it. The narrow-mindedness I see in humans in general is already a challenge. In our industry, much more. Why? I'm the master. So you see this belt? It's black. It's black. All of a sudden, organically, I know freaking everything. No, I don't. I think once I earned a black belt, I was 17. I felt like I was really ready to learn. I felt like I really didn't know anything. And I still wake up to this day with that mindset. I'm studying everything right now in AI, because AI, the fourth industrial revolution, will have a huge impact on our lives. Not us in the martial arts industry, because, you can't rear naked choke through AI. So be it. But you know what? I do believe the influence AI will have on the way we automate our emails, the way we design Facebook ads, the way we interact on a base level with our clients to make things more efficient and more cost effective is going to allow us to do what we want to do better, which is ultimately what? Teach. I want to teach. I want to be on the mat. So this is my Millbrae location here. I also call it my lab. I'm constantly experimenting with different things to come up with better ways to teach. I say it all the time. It's not what you teach. It's the how and the why of what you teach. Okay. So before we get into the anatomy of a technique, I want to take a time to thank my sponsors. We have Tucson. We have Market Muscles, My Studio, Kids Love Life Skills, and LC Accounting. It is Letitia's birthday today. My sister Letitia, she's somewhere out there getting a massage, spending the money I gave her. She got some Michael Kors bag or something, or a Coach bag. We just want to say happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Letitia. Happy birthday to you. And so if you're not using these services, I highly recommend it. Because honestly, some people would say Market Muscles isn't any different than those other web people. People say My Studio is not much different than, essentially they all do the same thing. So what you're investing in is in a relationship when things don't go right, a relationship when they are doing updates, a relationship when they completely overhaul all the websites, right? Because if you're going to work with a tech company, things are constantly changing, and you have to be ready to deal with that. And a smart tech company should always be updating their product, which sometimes there's glitches, sometimes there's things. And it's amazing how I watch people get their panties in a wad when something's not functioning. What the heck? I mean, that's part of doing business every day. I didn't tell you this story. I didn't post any pictures, Marco. But we've been having problems with our sewer pipe in the back in the garage. And so a couple of days we couldn't use the toilet. They said they fixed it. Well, I'm sitting there Friday after the show, and my after school guy sends me a video. And I kid you not, there's about 3 inches of freaking sewage water in the backside of the school. And the back bathroom was filled with poop on the floor. It was just horrific. And we had 2 hours to get this thing up and running, 3, because they had classes out front and then the after-school programs in the back. So yours truly came scrambling in here, and we took care of business. But that's part of the joy. That's part of the joy of being an entrepreneur. Next week, I speak at Mills High School Career Day. Right? One of the main questions I'm going to ask them, and you can answer this now. What is the difference between a job and a career? Put it in the comments. And I'm going to take a look and see who's here today. I haven't done that yet. Bob Poole, Goals Martial Arts. What's happening, Bob? Who else do we have here? Marco says, can I say I'm glad you didn't send me a picture? Marco says, can I say I'm glad? What? I don't know what that means. Good afternoon, Professor. Who's that? Kids love life skills. Shit happens. You know what, Conrad? I kid you not. And 3 of my mats got ruined. And Beth Block at Block Insurance, who does our insurance, says it's not worth claiming, right? It's all about $500, but these mats are drying out. There's only 3 of them. And I had spare mats at home, which I got and brought down before classes. But I mean, I was knee deep and we cleaned that thing up. We cleaned it up. And do you want to make a beef with the landlord and have him give you $500 for mats? I don't know. I don't. I have to think the long-term relationship. And we're here another 10 years. I have 2 5-year options. So we're probably going to stay here another 10 years. I'm going to sit there and get into it with the landlord over what? I can't imagine what his bill was to get that sewer pipe rotor-rooted out, right? Probably big money. So that comes with doing business. So tell me, what is the difference between a job and a career? Put it in the comments. I want to know. Hi, sir. Ivan, what's up, sir? From the Collingwood Martial Arts. Collingwood Martial Arts. What's happening? So tell me, what is the difference between a job and a career? Anybody? What is the difference between a job and a career? You love your career. Yeah. I kind of define it this way. A job is something you get paid for. A career is something you get to do. Huge difference. Huge difference. And if I decide that this is going to be my career, the sense of love, appreciation, the way I go about it, the level of wealth I can accumulate is beyond anything I could possibly do in a traditional job, laid out with how many weeks vacation, how much annual raise, bonuses, the whole 9 yards. That could be mapped out for 40 years. But what's neat about having a career like mine, I can determine the level of wealth that I want to create. And I find that really magical, for a kid who grew up on welfare and food stamps. Right, to be able to sit there and be in this position and cultivate wealth beyond my wildest dreams is pretty cool. And I get to do what I love in the process. So one of the biggest things I want to share coming up, we just started our It's Time group mentoring. And so far we're working with Beth and Marty. And it's been a wonderful thing. It's giving us time to cut our teeth with Marco and Jason and me. And of course, the most beautiful woman in the world, Miss Monique Washington Jones. And so what's neat about it is we're really understanding being operators. I say this all the time, and I know people will debate this one with me, but you cannot tell me how to run my business unless you're doing it yourself. And that's really important. We're in the grind every day. All 4 of us own schools. We're in the mix. We're in there deep. And we understand that it takes a lot of things to run a great school. And I watch people magically give their money to a digital media company and think that fixes everything. No, it doesn't. You have no staff training. You have no bench. You have no brand. You have no why. You have no purpose. Nothing's there. Your social media sucks. Your website isn't happening. So all those elements, and I think the 4 of us bring that to the table. So we work with you intimately, texting on a regular basis, couple of Zooms every month. We give you the type of learning that goes beyond simply giving you a fish versus teaching you to fish. And I understand it. We live in a fear-based culture. And if I give you a fish, you got to come back to me for the next fish. And you got to come back to me for the next fish. But if I'm genuine in what my purpose is, I teach you to fish. And that is our goal. We want to teach you to fish. Because if you truly know how to fish, then you become independent. And isn't that what it's all about? You're here to be independent. You don't want to work for anybody. And I understand the whole mentor thing. I've got my own mentors. I get all that. But at some point, you got to stop reading books and you got to write your own book. And so if you don't have your version of success yet, and you've been spinning your wheels for 5, 10, 15 years, and you're not seeing your school substantially grow, then we're definitely the team you want to seek out. It's Time Group Mentoring. Go to brannonbeliso.com, look under services, and sign up for it now. I know Marty and Beth are going, no way, man. Right? Because she's got 4 people. They've got 4 people all to themselves, and it's been a beautiful ride. But we want to invite more people to come join us on that experience. We've made it very affordable, and you should get into it. What else? It's Time Live Canada, Marco, right? May 25th through 28th. It's my first trip up to Canada. You can stay for 1 day. 1 day is all business. 2 days, training, how to teach, all of that, and business. 4 days, it's really what makes its time live a unique experience. Day 3 is all personal because you are your own best friend and you are your own worst enemy. And I witness businesses suffer every day because of the lack of leadership, the lack of clarity, the lack of vision, the lack of discipline, everything that goes into most owners that suffer and have that Achilles heel. So that Monday of personal development for me is powerful. And then Tuesday, we bring Sam on in. It's wealth building. We take everything we've learned over 3 days, strategize how we can take actionable steps. So it's a very well planned out. It's our 8th year with this, and we only take 20 people, only 20. And I enjoy the intimacy of that environment because you get accountability partners, you make new friendships, and it goes on and on. So I highly recommend you sign up for It's Time Live Canada now. I think there's only, I don't know, a handful of spots. Go get signed up now. Everybody put in your name. Tell me who you are, where you're tuning in from. So you put in the group mentoring. Can you put in Canada? Oh, you did both. Thank you, Marco. Thank you. Thank you. So who's here, where you're tuning in from? And while I'm waiting for you to do that, I'm going to share with you what we're going to discuss today. We know the biggest attrition rate is what? 0 to 18 months, right? It's never changed in our industry. I understand it's a new relationship. People are feeling out each other, getting to know each other, deciding if they're going to do business with you or not. We know that. We get that. That's nothing new. But I believe one way we can mitigate that attrition and better our retention is by constantly mining the data of 0 to 18 months. What's going on? Where are they quitting? Everybody's quitting in month 3? Okay, month 3. Number 1, look at the curriculum. Number 2, look at the teaching staff. Number 3, look at the way the curriculum is being delivered. If I want to put a bad restaurant out of business, I'm going to give them great marketing. And I think it's such a misconception. So many school owners think marketing is going to save them. It's not. Marketing is one of many pieces of creating a successful business. So I find a lot of people do not spend any time with curriculum development, and they simply teach the way they learned as a student and the way it's been done for, how many years they've been doing martial arts. And that's a challenge for me. That's a real big challenge for me. I simply want to deliver a product where the user experience, right? I'm going to use that. It's more of a technical term for technology, where the user experience, where the interface is as important as what's being delivered. Think about that for a moment. Ken, what's happening? Ken, how are you, sir? Brian, what's up, Brian, sir? And so I spend a lot of time with that. Like, as I was sharing with Ken this morning, this one client's converting at 15%. And now those aren't great numbers, especially if you're a smaller school, right? I think you should be converting around 50, right about there. If you're a big school like us with 500 something at one location, 500 at the other, I'm happy with 30, 35%. I really am, because we have a lot more traffic through the door. But nonetheless, doesn't mean I'm not constantly reviewing our new student experience and trying to make that better. Right now, we do one free class. Part of it is a semi-private on the mat. Part of it's the group environment, because we believe you got to test drive the product you're driving. I think the thing about a controlled environment, some people will do 2 intros, right? Private lesson intros, is that it's not what they're buying. Right? It's very controlled. It caters to that person, when we know ultimately they're paying for what? Group classes. So it's important that they're in that group class so the parent can get a real idea of what it is they're paying for and what their child's going to be getting. I used to do the one person, one-on-one intros, and I converted at about 90%, right? Because I was doing them. But guess what the stay rate was? The stay rate in the first 3 months was like 50%. And I was never happy with that. So I'm always mining that data. So the first thing I'm going to encourage you to do is go over your trial process. Not just, is it 2 weeks in uniform, 2 classes, try to convert them before the end of the second class, give them $100 enrollment fee off, that kind of stuff. It's really about what you teach, okay? And then I think, hey, what's up, Mr. June, sir? How are you, sir? And I think for me, the other thing that comes with that is recognizing, I say it all the time, and this I got a long time ago when it was Little Ninjas. Melody Schulman back then, it was Melody Johnson now. Back then, she talked a lot. Is your curriculum age specific and skill level specific? Ask yourself that question. Is what I'm teaching age level and skill level specific? right? I teach Kenpo, which is a very hard system, right? Very hard system to teach. So the fact that we've been able to scale it to 520 at this location, close to 500 at the other location, I think says a lot to my strategy and intuition on creating curriculum that's not only appealing, but definitely serves the demographic we cater to, which is what? Kids. Kids. Most of us, it's kids, right? We're not in an adult-centric environment, but I've mitigated that when I created the fitness kickboxing program. We have close to 200 kickboxers, between the two locations. That's a substantial program, right? By any means. But it made sense with low-hanging fruit because it's mainly the moms. It's mainly the moms of the kids that do martial arts here. So it was an easy fit and it made a lot of sense. You follow me? So I'm mindful of that. And I'm not simply going to buy a program out of the box that's out there because I'm lost and I don't know who I am. I need to know who I am. I need to know what positions my business differently than all the other martial arts schools in my community. Sometimes it's hard when we have too many programs. Okay. And I'm diverting off the road a little bit here, but I just want to share that. I was working with somebody yesterday and they said, okay, I teach this technique. I teach a back fist followed by an outward block. I said, okay, that doesn't make any sense to me. He goes, why? I said, well, why would you teach the back fist before the outward block, right? He goes, some outward inner forearm block. I said, because logically, and if I was using it for any kind of combination of self-defense, wouldn't I block first and then follow with my counter, which is a back fist? Why would I hit him first and then block after, right? So ideally, it's understanding how and why. And at that level, I'm really understanding I don't want to teach kids to hit people first. Now we know, come on, if you've ever been in a real street fight, if you're threatened or feel like you're going to get into a fight, you hit them first. I understand that. Please, come on. I understand that. You hit them first. If I feel threatened and you're close enough and I know it's going to be, I'm going to hit you first. That's it. We're done. But in this case, we're trying to mitigate that martial arts teaches violence. So if I'm going to teach a year one student to hit you with a back fist first and then block after, I would much rather teach the block first and then there's my response. But we pre-frame that with what? If somebody's bothering you, what do? You go tell the teacher. You use your words and tell them to stop or you walk away. And then we teach our self-defense stance, even our self-defense stance for beginners and white belts. It's done this way, not this way. We say, think of the crossing guard at school. What does this say? Stop. Okay. What does this say? Every kid will say fight. So again, one of the big obstacles we're trying to overcome that we teach kids to be violent, right? We want to dispel all that. So I've spent a lot of time mitigating different parts of our curriculum that show violence. Like right now, in our white belt curriculum, we do a kicking exercise that goes shin, knee, groin, and solar plex throat. I'm going, that's got to go away. I don't want to have a 6-year-old brand new kid going, groin, and kicking something. So we're just going to go low, medium, and high. That's what we're going to do. We're going to change it to that. But see the evolution of that? When I was taught as a kid, it was shin, knee, groin. So we know what target we're going to, right? But at that age, I don't think it's age appropriate to have a 6-year-old going groin, groin, while they're throwing a front kick to the groin, right? And then how do you mitigate that a step further? We show that it's okay, to kick and punch the pads in class or the bag. But sir, if you were to kick or punch your friends, would that hurt them? Yes, it would very badly. Okay. If you kick and punch your brothers or sisters, would that hurt them? Yes, it would very badly. So we understand that hitting people is wrong. Kicking people is wrong. Pushing people is wrong. Now, self-defense is something you have to ask your parents. Because if we make it okay to defend yourself in the street, we're under a huge liability at that point. Well, my martial arts instructor said I should punch you in the face. Right? That's a bad day. So again, because of the lack of education, we don't mitigate that. So we try to really spend a lot of time mitigating that. For us, it's huge, huge. But we know ultimately, if you can't defend yourself, why are you doing martial arts? So table that, okay? I'm all about creating that relationship because I hate that the attrition rate from 0 to 18 months sucks in most schools. Who's with me on that? Who's with me? And put in your questions. please move your phone off of the shelf. You're asking me to move my phone? Please move your phone off of the shelf. Oh, my phone here? This one here? Is it ringing? Can you move your phone? It makes a horrible noise when you get a notification. Oh, but that's okay. Everybody hear my phone? That shows how often it rings. Oh. I was feeling my phone, Marco, but I'll move it out. Okay. So, better? All right, so if you have a question as I'm talking about this, go ahead and put it in there. So I know one of the first techniques we teach is a front kick. How many of you teach a front kick at white belt level, beginner level? We all do, right? It's probably the most primary kick, the first kick everybody teaches, right? When we have a beginning student. Is that right? Put it in the comments. Don't tell me you teach a reverse jumping crescent kick. Please don't tell me that. Right? Again, if it's age appropriate, skill level appropriate, the fact that martial arts does have kicking, in most systems, we teach a front kick, correct? Yeah. Okay, wonderful. So I think the big thing, and TJ said this, and I did a post because when the teacher becomes a student, it's a good day. And TJ posted that, I know we like our drills and disguising and repetition, but it's the setup. It's the setup. Right? How you set up that technique. It's like the beginning of a movie. If the opening of the movie is strong, it makes you want to watch the rest of the film. But if the opening is not strong, then guess what? So we want to be mindful that if we're going to do something as basic as a front kick, you get everybody set up for success. Right? Something to this effect. All right, today we're going to be learning how to throw a front kick. It's really awesome. Michelangelo and Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles loves to throw a front kick. It looks like this. Ayah! 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 Who's ready to do it like Michelangelo? I am. Boom. And then you teach it. But, I was working with a school owner and I said, well, tell me how you teach this. He says, well, I stand up there and I say, you must rechamber. The technique we're learning today is rechambering. And I said, whoa. You're done. I'm freaking 6. You're up against Pokemon Go there, bro. You better make it happening. And if I wanted to take that a step further, I'd grab a board, I'd grab an assistant, let him break that board, right? Maybe I'd have him hold a pad, and he kicks the pad and I fly backwards, right? Just to set it up because it's a front kick. So you want to set him up for success. You want to show them this is the best thing since mom's apple pie. Right? And what are we up against? TikTok, YouTube, and all the rest. So you want to introduce that technique. As they say, attitude is contagious. Who's cut yours today? But I know it's hard to do that day in and day out, week after week, month after month. I'm sorry. I can't fix that. That's a mindset issue with you, right? I mean, am I who I am? I am. I love what I do. I'm excited all the time when it comes to this stuff because this is what we deliver. This is what we deliver, right? The core product. So once we introduce that front kick, we're super excited and happy. How do you teach it? Go. How do you teach it? What's the next step? I've introduced a cool technique we're learning today. What's next? How do I begin instructing it? You do it with them. Kids learn by doing, not by you freaking talking. And especially if most of the language you're using is what your instructor gave you, and you talk to these kids as if they're adults. You must rechamber. Rechamber. Stop saying rechamber. I think it's irrelevant. For me, and to sit there and count in Chinese, I teach Kenpo. I'm not doing that either. It doesn't make any sense, right? I'd rather than be kicking and punching and doing things on the pads and moving and sweating and smiling and having fun than me, trying to drill in their head. You must count in Chinese, okay? So again, I want to be mindful of that. So once we introduced this really cool technique, made it fun, maybe broke a board, maybe had the instructor, the assistant knock me over with their front kick, then I teach it. How do I teach it? Anybody? How do you teach it now? Don't. And Marco, if anybody wants to come on the show and share their technique they're having challenges with, I will happily break that down right here live, right now, in real time. I don't know what the technique is. Remember, we're talking about 0 months to 18 months. So don't freaking give me some, 750 jumping through the air, spinning over. How long do you stay on a drill? Well, you can't see it from here, Mark. We have a clock, a digital clock. And we try to, if you break up a class, you're teaching this one stripe, warm up, stretch, life talk, game at the end. We're roughly looking at about 35 minutes, right? So you teach, drill. We're big on, we got to teach it, we got to drill it, and then we got to practice. That's the first thing that happens. So we want to make sure in those 35 minutes, let's just say 30 for the sake of argument. I want to drill that technique as much as I can. Each drill's got to be roughly a minute to 2 minutes. Again, though, see, I'm at the point in my teaching, if I feel a lull, I'll pivot into the next drill. Our younger instructors don't have that yet. They'll be looking at the clock going, okay, 2 minutes. Okay, time, right? So again, I think it's a feel thing for me in real time. But if you had to ask me if I had to put a hard number on it, I'd say anywhere from 1 to 2 minutes. 1 to 2 minutes per drill. But see, again, people go, what? How in the heck is that? I'm going to share with you. So we're talking about a front kick, right? So I've just demonstrated this great front kick. Everybody's super happy. Guess what happens next? This is what happens next. We sit them on their butt facing the mirror. Please take balance out of the equation. Every 6-year-old's jumping up and down and all the rest. And then we say, okay, do it like me. I tried bend your knee, and kids are doing all kinds of weird stuff. I just say, okay, 1, do it like this. 2, kick like this. 3, go like this. 4, put your foot down. 1, go like this. 2, go like this. 3, go like this. 4, go like this. I kid you not. It has to be that basic. Then we'll say 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. And we'll go through that cycle several times. Now, we have a thing called black belt training, which I got from Roland Osborne. And you know what I've observed lately, watching more classes? Black belt training does not freaking work for level 1 students and beginners. Please stop it. Stop it. And that, I think it's fine for level 2, level 3. But for beginners, it doesn't work. Because you tell them black belt training gives you an opportunity to practice at level 10 all by yourself without having to be told. Sounds romantic, sounds beautiful. But then I look at the room and that's it. I'm just watching the room and you got a white belt going, what you just say? No, they're going, talking to his buddy, even level 1. So I think we're better off counting and cueing. Now, I know the Koreans are big on that, right? 1, sir, 2, sir, 3, sir, 4, sir. That's fine if that's what you choose to do. I would recommend for drills, do them in a set of 3. Stay with me. Do them in sets of 3. Mark, if the students are older, do you drill longer? Not necessarily. If the kids are older, you just drill differently. Yeah. But I mean, if you're talking about a class with 6 to 11-year-olds, they can all drill the same. Do my teen and adults drill a little differently? Sometimes. But see, the big thing in staff training, Mark, I want to make sure, let's say hypothetically, we're reviewing what we're teaching for the next 2 weeks. We have Learn a Week and Earn a Week. So here's the curriculum for year 1, curriculum for year 2, year 3, year 4, right? It should all be the same because we have to facilitate, curriculum to how many students. And if you're changing everything based upon, because there's older students in the room, no, people drill the same. They got to drill the same. Otherwise, again, you leave that doubt in your younger instructor's mind. And again, borrowing from E-Myth, Mark, stay with me, borrowing from E-Myth by Michael Gerber. When I can write systems for ordinary people to perform extraordinarily, then I've got a winning system. And that's fundamentally what McDonald's was, right? They took a bunch of teenagers and created this $1 trillion company. That's pretty amazing. So it's the same thing here. When I'm designing this curriculum and these drills and stuff, I want to empower that 15, 16-year-old to be badass. Can I say that? Badass. So I'm mindful of that because if my team is successful, then my clients will be successful. And that's why, again, in curriculum review, we had katas sitting in white belt, Mark, that now sit up in year 4. That's how hard they were. They sit up in year 4. That's how hard they were. Is that crazy? Is that crazy? But back then, they didn't know what they didn't know. They just simply made katas, did what they did, and that was life, right? That was life. But we're in a much different environment now. I didn't abandon the forms because I love Kenpo, but I moved them up into year 4. So I think that's what I'm talking about when I say being relevant, age-specific, skill level specific. All of that comes into play. Cool? You're very welcome, sir. I agree. Level 1 can't work on their own. They can I was watching that and going, okay, I'm going to tell the team in Slack, hey guys, let's lean away from that. But that's why Conrad, I watched the guy teaching a level 1 class. He sent me some videos, and it was 1 sir, 2 sir, 3 sir, 4 sir, 5 sir, 6 sir. Okay. All right. The challenge with that is, how do you go down the line if you're working with people on drills? Because what I find with beginners, even though we have the bag, right, and I'll get into them and all those things, the longer I can keep them on their dots and we move around, the faster we can move our classes. I cannot tell you when we say, okay, everybody, bag, work over here, go over here, partner drills. The more you get them off that dot, that transition is just way too slow for me, especially at the beginner level and the year 1 level. I want to move quick through the class. So as you can see, we have dots out here. I hope you can see all our dots. They're spaced where I'm not going to kick this guy. I'm not going to punch this guy. I won't hit the guy behind me or in front of me. But they also facilitate our drills very quickly, easily, and simply. And that's how they're designed. So everything we do is in 3s. 3 is a great number. So it's 1, say it's a round kick. 1, round 1, 2, round 2, 3, everybody key eyes. Aya! And we move down the line. So let's say hypothetically, I'm using a paddle, right? I got 3 dots here. Everybody see the dots? There's a kid here, there's a kid here, there's a kid here. So I'm counting it. 1, round 1, 2, round 2, 3, aya! Move to the next one. 1, round 1, 2, round 2, 3, aya! And I'm moving down the line, not the kids. And if I have an assistant handling the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th row, we follow in suit. You with me? So the 3 has become really magical for us. That we're changing it in our testing process too. Instead of 10 in a row, we'll do sets of 3 until we're happy with what we're looking at, right? So going back to that front kick, one of the things, the big fear with kids is when you move towards them with pads, right? At this age level, it's very overwhelming. So one of the drills that I will do is when they're sitting on their bottom and they go 1, 2, they hold their foot out there and we go down the line with this pad, just pop, pop, pop. We're hitting the bottom of their foot. That's a real big one, okay? Next one that we'll do, again, counting in the sets of 3, we're going down the line with this. Why do we use this? Anybody know why we use a ring on a front kick? Give me some love. Why do I use a ring on a front kick? Karate for Girls, Miss Monique. Oh, she didn't hear that earlier that I said she was the most beautiful woman in the world, huh? Don't be telling her. For accuracy, yeah? We know one of the big things we shout, rechamber, rechamber, rechamber. Nah, let's bring it into today's world. This is the ring of fire. You're going to kick through the ring onto this pad. Do not touch the ring of fire, right? So they could still be sitting on their bottom, and I'm going to go 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4. They're kicking through the ring into the paddle, never touching the ring, and they will all rechamber that kick every freaking time. Every freaking time. There you go. Then we stand them up. I can repeat the same drill from the ground, but now I'm in a standing position like this, right? So when I go to throw that front kick, it's the same kick. So where do we start it with? We hold the paddle, but I would not, at this point, because they're beginners, switch to this, right? Why? Because I don't want my team getting kicked in the freaking arm. So we move from this. The paddles are great because the clappers, this was something that I know I got from Taekwondo. They're loud. They make a really nice, crisp sound. They're a lot of fun. Okay, but if I'm now going down the same line, doing front 1, front 2, ayah. Front 1, front 2, ayah. I want something bigger on my arm, a little more shield there, a little more, which leaves the room for error. They're beginners. They're year 1 students. Room for error. So when we do it staff training, it's done this way. They understand in staff training, they're not picking up this red square target to do front kicks on with kids. They are not. They understand they're going to use that big black shield, the forearm shield. You see where I'm going with this? So when you're facilitating staff training, you take the guesswork out. But that's how methodical you need to be. That methodical. I know it might sound a little, extreme, but it's not. If my team is successful, then my students will be successful. What's the question? Love it. Great at what I do. However, these small but fresh ideas. Yeah. I mean, we're all great at what we do because we love what we do. But if I'm really great at what I do, I'm constantly getting better. Kaizen, right? That constant improvement. And it's a front kick. So when the day's done, I don't care how I teach it, as long as they get it. I'm not married to the way my dad taught me, right? I'm not married to it at all. I'm married to being able to impact lives and teach them to throw a really good freaking front kick. All right? You with me? Thank you. Okay, so write this down. KAPS, CAPS. TJ came up with that acronym, but it was based upon what we would always teach. Knowledge, power, speed, and accuracy. That's what my dad said. Knowledge, power, speed, and accuracy. So when you create drills, the first one is knowledge. They need to know how to do the technique. Thus, sat you on your butt, taught you to do a front kick. You basically know it. 2, accuracy. How did I do accuracy? Well, I used that forearm pad. I used the forearm pad in the ring, right? So you accurately bend your knee, you accurately extend it, you accurately reach hammer, you actually put it back down. So I worked on the accuracy. Power. How do I do power? Well, it's obvious. That's what the bag is for, power, right? You have a small class of 4 or 5 kids, put 4 kids around this bag, right? They can all kick at the same time. They can kick in a domino, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? They can kick that way, or I can do line drifts. We have all these black dots. We have our mirror here, so I'm going to pretend the mirror's here. So they're all doing the kick, then guess what? Now we turn, we face the bag, and we keep them on their dot. Keep your left foot on your right. That way, the kid behind me practicing his front kick in line doesn't kick me in the butt. That's the other advantage of having the dots. Even in line drills, people aren't like butt up against each other. No way. Here. And that helps facilitate that as well. That's why the dots to me are so magical. People said, Roland Osborne gave me the dots 15 years ago. People say, your school looks so good, but all those dots on the floor look crappy. I don't care if they look crappy. My classes are fast, precise, they're executed really, really well, right? Really, really well. And so as far as utilizing these dots, spacing-wise, we're always in a really, really good space, okay? So you got that? And then we use the bags for power. And it's the same thing. You come up to the bag, front 1, front 2. And you kick that bag, right? For power. So the bag's for power. And what's last? Speed. Ooh, how do we do speed? Okay, we're going to do 3 kicks, front 1, front 2, ready, set, who's going to be the fastest? Go! And then they do it really fast. So again, if you're working with the KAPS as your parameter, then you're able to cultivate drills that are fast. So you see that, Mark? I mean, I could come up with 2 or 3 for knowledge, 2 or 3 for accuracy, power, speed. The list goes on and on and on. The goal is I don't want to do drills that take too long to set up or drills that take a long time to reset, right? We used to do a fun drill where we'd sit there and we'd toss pads at the kids to kick back to us. It's okay, but they got to run and pick up that pad and reset and all that. It just became too time consuming. Was it fun because they're dealing with the visual of the pad moving and coming at them and they've got to kick it? Yes. Is it appropriate for year 1? No. They don't kick it straight back to you. That pad goes every which way, okay? But I do believe if I'm a year 2 student, I'm learning a fundamental punch, and I'm punching that ball. That's cool. That works all day for me. We do that up against a mirror. We're just punching like this, hitting that ball. And that was borrowed from the idea of that little thing they put around their head with the string and the ball going pop, 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 pop. But a big giant ball like that is more age appropriate. And it's fun. And we do that in year 2, year 3. We'll do it up a little bit higher. You with me? So again, it's knowing where these things should go. And you know how you know? It doesn't work. It doesn't work. A square peg does not fit in a round hole. You with me? Any questions up to this point? Put them in. Yeah, and that's a whole nother level. Thank you, Kids Love Life Skills. So now we're at another level, and we're not talking about the dots. We're on teamwork this week in our school. So how can I work in the life skill of teamwork into my classes? That's easy. If teamwork's working together, divide the class right down the middle. This side of the class, you're team A. This side of the class, you're team B. Of course, come up with something cooler. You're the Power Rangers. You're the Hello Kitties. Whatever, right? Okay, who can kick correctly by doing it like this, like me? Ready? Kick. 1 point over here. Who could do it at belt level, right, for accuracy? Ready? Go. Okay. Who could do it really, really strong? Go. Who could do it with the loudest ki? Go. Who could do it with their hands up? Go. Who could do it the fastest? Go. And you develop these drills, and we're going to compliment team 1 or team 2 for working together. You want to drive that home? Want to take it to the next level? I like how you're doing it right away when I say kick. That's awesome teamwork. Make sure you do what your parents ask you to do right away at home. Go right back to the kick. See the layers I'm discussing, right? And this is why we do $2 million a year. Because I understand the core product of martial arts instruction is what is going to separate you from everybody else out there that's still kicking and punching freaking dead air. Dead air, right? Dead air. Trying to count in, I don't know, some foreign language. And, it's just, come on. It's still a front kick when the day's done. It's how we present it, age level, skill level specific. Cool? And so that's the discussion we have too. How can we work the life skill into whatever curriculum we're teaching? Because if all I do is deliver it in the life talk in the first minute, right after the warm up and the stretch, which is what we do, and then I say nothing about that life skill for the rest of the class, I have failed. I have failed, right? If it's something like focus, which means to pay attention, look with your eyes, listen with your ears, think with your mind, do the right thing with your body. Wow, it's awesome. Eye focus, how you're looking where you're kicking. Make sure you look at your mom when you're talking to them, right? When your mom's talking to you, right? They kick again. Oh, wow, that's really accurate. I like how you're kicking right to the center of the square target. Make sure when you write your T's and your I's that you do it correctly. On and on and on. On and on. On and on. Throw a kick again. Boom. Oh, I like how you did that right away. That's awesome. Ear focus. Make sure you're listening to their teachers when they teach you. See, and you just work that layer too. That's a whole nother layer. That's a whole nother layer, but it really takes our teaching to that master level. That master level. Okay, so now, here's the thing we experienced right away. Often, what's the next kick we teach after a front kick to our beginners? Say they got their first belt. They went from white belt to their first belt. They're now in a new class. What's the next kick we teach them? Anybody? Who can tell me? On average, what's the next kick we teach? And I'm showing you a progression here. The reason this is because I want to build upon things. When I designed our year one curriculum, it is foundational for year 2, year 3, year 4. It really, really is. It really is. Thank you. Conrad says a round kick. You're right, Conrad. It's a round kick. Thank you, sir. So again, we're going to learn this really cool technique today. It's a round kick. You might have seen Optimus Prime do it in the Transformers. Looks like this. Round 1, round 2. Hi-ya! Who wants to learn that kick with me? I do. Boom. And you're in it, right? You demonstrate that like it's freaking the best thing in the world. And then you teach it. So how do we teach that? Well, we sit them on their side. Everybody lay like this. And we go 1. Do it like me. 2. And in this case, point your toes at the mirror. 3 and 4. 1, 2. And I'll turn this way for a minute. 3 and 4. Okay. Now, should I bring my leg up like this? Now, why am I doing this? Because I had learned a front kick. Should I bring my leg up like this? No. Why? Because that is a front kick. That is a front kick. Awesome. So turn it like this. You cannot say parallel to the ground. They're freaking kids. Don't say parallel to the ground. What does parallel mean to a 6-year-old? Nothing. Absolutely nothing, right? But it's muscle memory. See, that's the thing I get. I want to instill the muscle memory. So do it like this, good. And do it like this, great. Do it like this. Now we repeat the cycle. 1, 2, 3, 4. We do that a bunch of times. Then we say 1, 2, hold your foot out there. And then we take the same clapper and we're going down the line, hitting the top of their foot. Pat, 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 pat. We even have fun. The instructors were on each end of our lines. Who's going to be the first one to that line? Go. Pop, 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 pop. And we run down the line. The kids think it's just hilarious. Hilarious, right? The other issue we have is because they've learned a front kick, they tend to kick with the ball of their foot or the bottom of the foot in a round kick. Who's ever seen that when the kid goes 1, 2, and they're throwing this front kick with a round kick foot position? How do I mitigate that? Oh, you're going to love this. Silly as to be. You know what I said? Okay, everybody. I love this comment. Lay on your belly. Okay? Everybody see me? Okay, now pretend you're swimming. Paddle your feet. The part of your foot touching the mat, that's the part of the foot we kick with when we do a round kick. Just like you're swimming, see the part of the foot? Now, why did I do that? Because most kids have taken swimming classes. You know how fast that cured the round kick for me? You know what it was like trying to say kick with your instep? Point your toes like a ballet dancer? I tried everything. And the minute I said, you know what? They all swim. My kids are swimming at 18 months, 2 years, 3 years. I said, turn them over on their belly and have them paddle with their feet. The part of the foot touching the mat is the part of the foot you use on a round kick. Who's with me on that? Who sees that? Who can see that? As silly as it is, who can see that with me? Side kick. Okay, Mark does a side kick. See, we move the side kick, Mark, up into year 3. Kid you not. Or it might be year 2. We had a side kick in beginner, sir. In beginner. And it was the worst thing. It was the worst thing. Now at least we do a game, Mark, where we go, okay, everybody, front kick. They stand on the balls of their feet, right? Back kick. They stand on their heels. Side kick. They stand on the edges of their feet, right? Because we do a side kick in Kenpo with the heel and the edge of the foot. So we'll play that game. We'll say, okay, front kick, they're on the balls of their feet. Back kick, they're on their heels. Side kick, they're on the edges of the feet. It's simply muscle memory, but it really helps them see the difference, right? It helps them see the difference between what part of the foot is actually making contact with the pad or their target or the bag. And by using their natural body weight, and I'm doing this, the only thing touching the ground where I'm feeling pressure is the ball of my foot. When I do this, only place I'm feeling pressure is the heels. When I stand on the edges of my feet, the only place I'm feeling contact is the edge of my feet and my heels. Okay? So, who thinks the swimming one is pretty cool? I have the feeling some younger girls are uncomfortable when grabbing the lapel, when practicing lapel slip. Yeah, absolutely, sir. So I think number 1, don't pair up girls with boys. Proper matching, matching and pairing is imperative. Otherwise, they wouldn't have weight classes, right? They wouldn't have weight classes, right? So it's super important. Unless the parents totally adamant, I want her to, roll with all the boys. It's no problem for me. But you might not have a problem with the dad. But have you ever asked your daughter that? Have you ever asked her that? Right? So again, proper pairing and matching. If you're doing lapel grabs and things like that, especially in jiu-jitsu, most days I would pair up girls with girls. Not to be, macho or what is it, misogynistic? I don't even know that word because I grew up with 4 sisters. But it's really to promote a more engaging environment. Now, if you don't have a girl in the class, let them practice on you. They can grab your lapel without taking you to the ground. Because fundamentally, what we're trying to get them to do is to learn that lapel grab, right? Trying to get them to learn that. So I understand that. So pair them up with a girl. Again, here's my story with that really quickly. I was consulting the school and we're watching a class. And then I said, well, to me, a great telltale of how great a class is going culturally is just look at the waiting area. So he said, I talked to the parents in the waiting, but I've never looked at it through that lens. If I want to see how great a class is going, look at the parent waiting area objectively, right? So we looked at the waiting area. And I said, what do you see? He says, well, everyone looks okay. I said, no, look at that one guy sitting there. And this guy was sitting there like this, in his chair, folding his arms. His jaw was clenching, was leaning in, leaning back. And you could tell he was disturbed, right? He wasn't at ease. And I said to him, whose parent is that? Because that girl out there. And when we looked, brand new white belt girl, right? White belt girl on her back in the guard. She must have been 11 or 12 with a 17-year-old boy between her legs. And she had her legs wrapped around the 17-year-old boy. Now, I know, right? We don't think like that. It's just jiu-jitsu. But in the father's eye, my little girl, brand new student, white belt, not a stripe on her belt or anything, is on her freaking back. And the 17-year-old boy is between her legs. And she's got her legs wrapped around him. Not cool. Not cool. And he goes, God, I never thought of that. I said, yeah, because you just roll and you love jiu-jitsu. You're not thinking crazy thoughts like that while you're trying to deal with somebody urinating, choking you or an arm barring you. I understand that, but we have to know our audience and know what we're playing to. He says, well, what would you have done in this case? I said, well, number one, if you're working, the guard, I would use a dummy. Now they've gotten much better. They have a lot of jiu-jitsu dummies out there that work. Well, what if I don't have dummies? Freaking buy one. Worst case scenario, I'm not putting a young girl on her back on her back with her legs wrapped around this kid's waist. No, it's not happening. I'm sorry. It just won't. It just won't. And the reason the girls are uncomfortable because you're touching their chest, right? You're doing lapel grabs and you're touching her chest. A little boy, I don't care. It's just the whole thing, the stigma that comes with it. It's not cool for a kid to reach into a girl's shirt like that. In this case, her uniform top. It's just not cool. And I can go on and on and on with this, sir. I really, really can. Should somebody invent, and I think this is the next level. Could you imagine if you had something like a bob and you put a jujitsu gi on it? Right? Because they're learning the grab. It's a lapel grab. And they walked up and they're able to do lapel grab, pull on bob, go to the end of the line. Wouldn't that be cool? Somebody do that for me. I want to see next person. That's a Brannon original if it hasn't been done. All right? Brannon original. Put a jujitsu gi on a bob, go in there and do, whatever that is, whether it's lapel grab, front grab, whatever you're doing, and have them drill that way. It's better for the instructor because it's hard. I know a lot of jiu-jitsu guys at this point in their life, their knees are shot. They're always going down. They're always getting up. They're going down to, correct the student and getting up. Imagine if we could mitigate some of that by doing the simple fundamental. Because if you hear like this and you reach into the lapel of Bob wearing a jiu-jitsu uniform, I can correct your thumb and its eye and I'm standing up. And so it's better for the instructor. Anybody with me on that? Who's with me on that and sees that? You can make your own training BJJ dummy. Yeah, you can, Garth, for sure. Sure, absolutely. Yep. Yeah, and the swimming kicks. I sat there and I went home and I felt like an idiot, Garth. I kid you not. I went, why didn't I think of that? Every kid swims. But my kids learn how to swim before they really learn how to do martial arts. So just a little paddling on the floor made a huge difference. Okay, so now we got them stood up, right? What's the challenge? They always bring up that round kick like a front kick. You know how we mitigated that? It was real simple. Real simple. This pad you don't kick. This is the pad you kick. So they organically bring their leg up parallel to the ground to get over this one, to kick this one, to get over this one, to kick this one. That's all. How simple is that? How simple is that, right? It was really that simple. You must raise your leg parallel to the ground, knee and foot in alignment. No, don't kick this, kick this. That's simple. That's simple. And if they hit this with the ball of the foot, I'll say, remember you're swimming. Show me your foot like it's swimming. Boom, and they make that adjustment. Because it's something they've done. It's something that's familiar. It's something they can relate to. Okay? Another way to mitigate that, with the round kick, the kids love this one. We use this because of the height of the kids, right? They're not that tall. You can also lay a Wave Master on its side and do fundamentally the same thing with this. But what we're doing here is, if you kick this pad properly, should it go that way? No, it should go that way. It should go that way. It should go that way. There's the round kick, right? Again, it's an accuracy drill, is it not? If they kick that pad properly with their foot properly, then, of course they'll kick all three at once because they're freaking kids and they think it's fun. But to bring that up and kick that pad and it goes in the right direction all day long, right? And again, you're trying to facilitate drills that help them learn the kick quickly and swiftly. But if your room doesn't look like this, you don't have stuff everywhere, then I'm going to challenge you. I don't want to walk into class and see our equipment racks packed. I want to see pads everywhere. I want to see stuff out and they're working. You with me? And then, of course, for power on a round kick, that's real easy, right? You're going to kick that back. You're going to kick that back. And if it becomes an issue and they're throwing it like a front kick, we'll just do a focus thing. I'll hold the paddle there and go, okay, kick the paddle, right there. That's when you're going to kick, okay? And then pull the paddle away. Now do your kick. And they'll do the kick. The goal is, I have sets of threes. And I'm not going to sit here and keep you there for 20 kicks because you're not doing it right. There's, 4 other people in your line behind you. Mitigate it, do it, and they'll come back around. And the assistant's jobs are going down the line while they're waiting their turn and they're practicing and helping to correct that. But you want to use the paddles because, again, I had a school owner reach out to me, and he said, parents accused me of inappropriately touching their daughter in the class they were witnessing. I said, what? And I said, tell me what you did. And it was a kick. And he was holding onto this girl's leg with 2 hands. And could that have been viewed wrong? All day, every day. So we're very mindful, not to put our hands anywhere on students' bodies, right? And we say, as a rule of thumb, anywhere their bathing suit covers. But Their bathing suit may not cover the inside of their thigh. Be careful when you're doing some of these kicks and stuff that, you've done forever and it's no big deal. But who is your audience? What lens are they viewing this through? And the culture that we're in today and the society that we're in today, right? So again, I love the clappers for me because neurological stimulation is a big one, right? We always avoid the insides of their legs and things like that. But if you keep saying, no, kick with your right leg, kick with your right leg, kick with your right leg, and they keep doing it with the left, don't get into that conversation or that battle. Just simply kick with this leg, kick with this leg. This leg that I'm tapping, you see this one here? That's the one I want you to kick with. And be done with it. You're not going to sit there and stop the flow of your whole class to teach this kid his left from his right. That's not what you're there for. That is not your purpose. Who's with me on that? So just that neurological stimulation by tapping them. And that's why starting them from the ground, like I shared, and doing the round kick like this, they're holding it out to build up conditioning, right? The muscle group is getting, the muscle specific for a round kick is being worked right now. And then you're going down the line, tapping the top of their foot for that neurological stimulation. That's a big one too, right? Using our pony wall. People love the pony wall that we have in our school. It's used in schools worldwide. I'm going to show you. You see it? That's an awesome pony wall. Well, guess what? That pony wall was also designed that way with the lip. So a kid can hold on to the pony wall to mitigate balance and still do any kick that we do in our schools. All day. I was working with a Taekwondo school, and they call it a defensive round kick. Here's where the values of the dots are. So these kids are just jumping around and doing kicks and doing all this weird stuff. I said, no. You control the tempo of this drill. Left foot forward, right foot on the dot. Everybody see that? Right foot on the dot. Say step away from the dot and away from the mirror. Our mirrors are here. Step off the dot and away from the mirror. Say one. What do you do when I say one? Step off the dot away from the mirror, sir. Good. Back to position. One. And then two. Execute the round kick. 1, 2. Back to position. Do you have your right foot on the dot? Everybody tap the right foot on the dot. 1, 2. And so he was able to facilitate that quick and fast. And eventually when I say 1, you step back and say round 1. 2, step back, say round 2. 3, step back, aya. You with me? Who's with me on that? So now it's just 1, aya. 2, 3, aya. Again, please. 1, 2, 3, aya. And then, because they are beginners, me and my guys had the whole discussion. We're going to use big ass kicking pads like this. Too many times we've been kicked in the leg, kicked in the shin, and every which way. And what's beautiful about this, for most kids, that are under, let's say 4 feet all the way to 5 feet, you got a big surface there for them to kick on, right? So if I'm going down that line, doing that same kick, I can go 1, round 1, 2, round 2, 3, aya. Now, why am I moving towards them? Because I want to get them to step away to do a defensive round kick. But in creating curriculum, are you going to teach them a defensive round kick first or teach them a round kick first? Logically, I'm going to teach you a round kick first. So I was working with another school, and he said, well, I start off with a back fist, and then he calls it an outward forearm block, okay? I start with a back fist and an outward forearm block. I said, well, do you use that technique on the next strike for self-defense? He goes, no, not at all. I said, why? He goes, because I didn't. I said, no. And your third stripe in the 3-month sequence is the stances. Do we use those stances with this back fist and this outward forearm block? He goes, yes. Teach the stances first. Why? Because no technique is anything without the foundation, right? Any technique I teach begins with the foundation first. So why not make the first stripe the stances, right? And I don't know what his stances were. I think the back fist was like this. Front, he called it a front stance. And then the outward block was more of a stronger front stance. So I said, teach those 2 stances first, here and here. Teach the 2 stances first. Then work on the back fist with the stances next. Because the mind can comprehend 3 to 8 moves. So if you ask me beyond how many times the drill mark, I'm also understanding that the human mind comprehends 3 to 8 moves. So he goes, well, Why would you do that? I said, well, the back fist is one move. The outward forearm block is two moves. The stance that supports it is three, and the other stance is four. So there's your four moves. He goes, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. It says again, age level, skill level specific, and it's 0 to 18 months. Same thing with something as basic as a cross punch. I'm going to put the left foot on the dot, the right foot back, hands behind your back. Everybody go left foot right. Is your right foot on top of the dot now? Awesome. Is your right foot on the dot now? Awesome. Then step back, right foot left. Step forward, left foot right. Step back, right foot left. And we're even having conversations now about getting rid of that. And for that lower level student, year one, just teaching them to throw the punch. We are. But, I understand the power of the punch is not in my arm. The power of my punch is the whole body being engaged, moving into it. And I believe this will translate when they go to hit a baseball, when they go to kick a soccer ball. So to me, this footwork is really important. So I'm going to keep pushing it at the guys. It's not that we need to take this one out. We need to learn to teach it better. That's what we need to do, right? So I did one the other day, pretend your right leg's broken. Go like this and bring this leg with you. Go like this and bring this. Because I watch my kids in soccer. My daughter's a star soccer player. And for her to step and kick that ball the way she does, it's because she learned how to step like that when she learned a front kick, when she learned a cross punch, all those things. You with me? You with me on this? Great. So again, weighing that out, when the parent sees that it translates from karate to when that kid, you don't hit a baseball like this. You go 1, 2, and you hit that ball, right? 1, 2, and you hit that ball. The feet move. So it's very powerful. It's very powerful. So I want to keep it. I just have to find a better way to teach it. A better way to teach it. And then once we do that, guess what? We'll sit you down on your butt. Kids are sitting down like this with their hands up going, here's a cross punch. Here's a cross. And we teach that because we want to eliminate this. This is a huge distraction. Then once they get that, we're going to stand them up and then we're going to go. And we're going to teach the cross punch. So see how things are taught in bits and pieces. We don't just do the move, right? I said, okay, everybody does this kind of block, right? In block, inside block, whatever you want to call it. I said, teach me an inside block. He goes, well, everybody, you go like this. Follow me, kids, do this. I said, sir, let's back way, 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 way up. How am I doing on time, Marco? I can do this all day. Oh, man, I'm at 12:03. You know what that means? We're going to have to do a part 2. Anybody here with me want to do a part 2 on this? I think we're going to do a part 2. What do you think, Marco? Sound good? Sound good? Man, I'm sorry. I don't want to keep you guys over, but I love, as you see, my passion for curriculum design is just that. I'm extremely passionate because it's the core product we deliver. And I'm challenged when I work with somebody and all they do is kick and punch dead air, doing a poomsae or something. Like, what the heck? We're way beyond that. Kids love to hit things. You got to hit things. And if it's based upon knowledge, accuracy, power, and speed, and you know which tools to use for whatever age level, skill level is appropriate, you empower your team to have the confidence to go out there and deliver. You with me? So you guys ready to do another one next week? I'm in. Good. I'm glad you are. We'll do more of this next week. But as you can see, what I talk about on our It's Time group mentoring, I have to be a master at curriculum design. I have to be a master at social media. I have to be a master at branding. I have to be a master at being a level 5 leader. I have to be a master at creating a company people want to work for. All of it is why I am where I am, and I have been here relevantly successful in these martial arts schools for 25 years, small businesses for 35. I've had my failures, but I have data to show this is how this happens. I get it. The first time I stood toe-to-toe with a digital media company and I knew nothing about digital media and they said, I'm the expert, you're not. That was so disempowering and left me at a loss. I'm the owner of this business and you're telling me you're the expert and I am not. Well, I better get to work. So please be really mindful of that. We'll pick this up next week. Conrad, what you saying, Conrad? My takeaway, asking the kids, what did I say? And having them call it back. Yeah, well, I wouldn't even say that. What did I say and calling it back? I mean, that's what we do with focus with small 3 and 4-year-olds. Okay, what did dad ask you to do? Tell me, brush my teeth, put on my pajamas, go to bed. Sure. But I want to treat it more with the kids just as a response drill, right? 1, round 1, 2, round 2, 3, ayah. So that type of thing is super powerful because I can dictate the tempo of the class. I can move it faster and be more dynamic. So I hope that's what you mean with all that. Cool? All right. Look at this. I love the mess. So what I got coming up, we got It's Time Live Canada, May 28th, 25th through 28th. If you're on the East Coast, it's my only East Coast visit. Come on up to Ontario, which is like, I think 60 miles out of Toronto or something. Barrie, Ontario. We're going to be doing it 1 day, 2 days, 4 days. The link's in there. Get signed up now. Only 20 school owners. That is it. We've got the It Times group mentoring. Very proud of it. It's a more affordable price point. I want to reach more people. I want to help more people. And now that I got the help of Marco, Monique, and Jason, I believe we can do that. But it's this. It's all of it. It's everything. And make no mistake, if you want to succeed in business and not be one of the casualties, 8 out of 10 small businesses fail, 9 out of 10, whatever that gross number is, you need to make some real changes from your mindset to the way you do business, to the way you design curriculum, to the way you answer the phone, all of it, all of it. Thank you to my sponsors, to SAW, Market Muscles, my studio, Kids Love Life Skills, LC Accounting. Once again, big happy birthday to my sister, Letitia. Thank you to Mark for holding up the back end. You can find all of our podcasts on YouTube, as well as all of the platforms, Spotify, Apple, all the rest. Do subscribe to my YouTube channel. All of these sit there plus more. Follow me at Instagram. Please follow me at Instagram. For everything else, go to brannonbeliso.com. I'll catch everybody next week. We're going to do it again. We'll continue on curriculum. What I'd love you to do is come to the plate with some techniques. And if you look at it, I posted it in a thread, and guys are calling out techniques that are like, yeah, I have a problem just saying it, and you want me to do it? Come on, right? So I'm saying if we start with 0 to 18 months and really get that down, we'll reduce our attrition rate, improve our retention rate, have better martial artists, empower our students. But if you're not willing to swim, then how are they ever going to learn a round kick? Somebody laughed at me for that. I said, but the bottom line is they all know how to throw round kicks now. I'm not married to that. I'm married to teaching them to be great martial artists. Cool? All right. Hey, I'm Brannon Beliso. This is Success Never Sleeps. Until we talk again, what are you going to go out there and do? Live your best life. Boom.